Luca goes local, Adam goes boom, and Lieutenant Hura is Neil's mom. All that and more since we celebrate 11,000 episodes for the Restless Wrap-Up.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It is that sound again, and this song is really getting me into the mood, since not only is it another edition of the Restless Wrap-Up here on the Sunday Soap Block, but we also celebrated 11,000 episodes. See if I can even say that. It's such a big deal, especially for a soap opera, since Y&R is actually one of the newer ones compared to like General Hospital and stuff like that. So it's a pretty big milestone for a show to be on that long, and maybe we'll get there someday. But as always, I'm your host, Lacretia Lyon, and you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. But I'm not the only one here today. Like, we have a special guest host next to me. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Walker. I am Walker R on Twitter. Very excited to be here today.
All right, and you guys may notice Walker has been on the Bold Breakdown before, so he does know his soaps. And we are not alone here. On the end there, I have my sharp-dressed man today. I'm like, I haven't even been drinking, but I just can't even, get it out today.
I'm literally glistening. I'm so excited now. It's YR 11K. I'm glistening.
We're just that excited.
So, I'm Alexander Rodriguez. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at On The Rocks On Air or OnTheRocksRadioShow.com.
And next to Alexander, we have the lovely
Kiera Giavanni, and as always, you can find me on all social media at Kiera Giavanni.
All right, guys, so let's just get into it, since it was just such a big week, and we have so much to get to, because we will be taking your phone calls when we talk about our favorite moments as well. So let's just get started. Victor sets Adam free, and Nikki reunites him with Chelsea and Connor, but then crap hits the fan.
Literally, yes.
Yeah.
Call props. We need a fan.
So my thing was like, Nikki really needs to learn how to lie better. When Chelsea asked her, hey, that phone Connor was playing with, did you need that back?
Ooh,
she gave me
good.
Sharon crazy eyes.
That was good. That was good. But it's almost like Sharon. Like we know, like exactly. Like when Sharon.
You're so transparent.
Come on. Maybe something with the blondes in Genoa City. I don't know.
Ooh, it might be.
Well, Nikki and Sharon have always had way more in common than either one of them will admit.
That is true. That's the shade.
Yeah.
The shade.
I think Nikki actually coming in on one of Victor's schemes was kind of nice for
Love
a
it.
change. Because instead of her being in dark, oh, Nicholas, he didn't do anything, she's being proactive in it. And that was nice to see for, a change versus, being...
Yeah, lately Nikki's been on a whole new kind of scheme.
Yeah, I really loved Nikki this week. Yeah.
Ride or die for
Yeah.
Victor. I like that side
And
of her.
Adam's never been like her little baby, like just, what I mean. So for her, like it's some good support, and not once has she shamed Victor. She's never said like you did it again. I'm not, she's just like she's on the right.
whatever
She's
you need,
giving
yeah.
up. Yep, she's there.
Yeah, Nikki scheming with Victor made me like her so much more, because as you know, in the past couple weeks, I'm like, oh my God, she went back to him. She's just so pathetic, just going along and not believing anything. This week, she's in it, and I'm like, okay, I can respect that.
And it's good to see, because this is a week where everybody's kind of against Victor. They forget all the bad stuff they've done in Genoa City. It's just finger pointing towards Victor, so at least he has someone in his corner.
And I hope moving forward, this is their new dynamic. Because we don't need any more of like the breaking up, because she's like, oh my gosh, Victor, I can't believe you did this.
Yeah.
If from now on, if it's them as a team, it brings a whole new dynamic to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, they work so much better as a team. They can be the Carly and Sunny, and yeah,
Bonnie
except
and
more
Clyde. They should
likable.
go on this warpath,
Yeah.
like taking up businesses and spitting them out. I buy into that.
See, that's the Nikki Newman I want to see.
But also, Nikki's also seeing that Victor's plans are not fully working. He's kind of like, this is what happened this last week was kind of a...
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it might be time for her to step up and create her own plans.
I love
Yeah,
it.
behind his back, maybe.
Ooh.
I know. I mean, Victor is slipping in his old age.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah.
He really,
So
really
weird to
is.
see.
And, yeah, that is very odd to see. His entourage, so to speak, is nowhere to be found. I mean, he's kind of a lone soul, and I
Well,
think
he's
that's
fresh out of jail,
Yeah.
His resources are a little slim.
Dr. Daddy Issues is nowhere to be found. I was like, contact her for the ear infection medicine.
Right.
Yeah,
We could have saved a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, don't you have a doctor on speed dial? She would have picked up Victor.
It's so hot.
I love Daquan in the chat. He's like, unlike Carson, Nikki and Victor got some chemistry. And Daquan, you know how we're always on the same page, buddy. Yeah. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. So, speaking of Victor, let's go to his unfortunate mini-me, Luca. He goes, Luca!
Oh, gosh.
My name is Luca.
And he used to be one of my favorite characters until this last week and this week. I'm like, you are doing too much. When you told Summer you were supposed to choose me over your family, I was like, huh?
Who are you?
Yeah, he turned into a little bee, you know what I mean? It's like smack that kid upside the head. But you guys, I love Luca. I love his outfits. I love his style. I love his swag. He's so handsome. I was sad to see him dragged off in kind of an anticlimactic goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, he grabbed Summer. That was climactic. I had actually wanted to extend that into like a kidnapping. And then they just, he went away with the police. That's it?
Yeah, I agree. It was very anticlimactic, especially how much they built into this character. But I'm guessing it has to do with Miles getting other work. And so they had to, much like we'll get to later, characters have to be written out quickly.
I feel bad.
Hopefully there's room for him to come back.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel bad for him because I feel like his storyline being cut back has to do with Hunter, actually. Since she's on Life in Pieces full time and she's cutting back, so they didn't know where to put Luca. But what's up with Summer and like these guys? Like
She's just not good with guys, and some women are like that.
like Austin was
Yeah.
crazy.
I like Austin. I mean, and now I like a crazy man, and so I liked Austin, but to me, Luca was just too creepy crazy, and I'm like, okay, I'm
that's
cool.
sexy.
I'm cool with you being all like
To an
staying
extent.
about it, like every breath you take, but once you start getting into the darker songs, I'm like, eh.
But the best thing about Summer this week is that she admitted all of her faults, and that's
She
so
did.
good to see. Once I have a horrible track record with men, then you can start to repair and heal and become a new Summer.
After this and her man problems, I hope she just like goes full blown lesbian. She's like, I'm done with men. Here's how it's gonna be, and then she's in flannel and like cutoffs next time. Like that's what I want.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I'm always for like Chelsea and Chloe. I don't know who Summer and Summer and Mariah. I mean, they're not technically related.
No.
Right.
Oh.
The Snowflake could be a pet name.
And then how
I'm
cute
just
was
kidding,
that
guys.
when Nick, just hugged her and she came running to him, and he had that moment to say, "I told you so," and he didn't take it.
Oh yes,
So that
I
made me
noticed that
respect
too.
Nick so much more.
Because if it was my mom, she would have just slapped me full side and
Right.
said, "Don't, not even I told you so."
We
Boom.
told you.
Yes, but he can come back now because he's just in jail,
Yeah, he's just in
Yeah.
jail.
and we know how well that jail keeps him down.
And it's funny, after I did a poll like maybe a month ago about people liking Luca, no one said yes. Like it was so bad. Like I felt really bad for the character. But now, I mean, we've got people like, oh, I'm gonna miss Luca.
Yeah.
Luca was great. I mean,
He grew
anyone
on
trying
people.
to kill Summer is great.
It was exciting, and we needed that excitement because their storyline was so blah.
I love how his big threat. He didn't even have a weapon. He's just like, "I'm gonna cuddle you to death from behind." That was his big weapon.
I kept waiting to see, is there a knife or a
Yes.
little something? Nothing.
And Jack didn't know what to do.
Jack's like, what?
I love how when Phyllis is kidnapped like that, she knows like, get the cell phone and
Yeah.
do this and then escape, whatever. Jack was like, I don't know what to do.
But I love that she gave him credit for saving the day in front of Phyllis. I thought
Yes.
he needed that.
And you see Phyllis? She started looking at him like,
Or I'm so guilty.
Yeah,
I wanna come back from
that's
this.
what I felt. I felt it was like, oh, I just left your brother. I feel guilty.
Yeah.
That's what I took away from it.
See, those are my favorite Phyllis moments. So I was like, thanks, Jack, but I'm still gonna bang your brother.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Phyllis and Jack would literally be relationship goals. If they would just stay together, she would stop cheating. Everybody would want to be like them.
no, because then they turn into Chelsea and Adam, and we know after a few weeks,
No, all that red stuff. They're a little spicy.
I feel like that ship is shit. So
Yeah,
I
me too.
yeah if it was Phyllis with Michelle Stafford, I would be all for it.
That's true.
They just don't have that same spark.
Yeah, I agree. When Michelle and Peter were in scenes together, it was just so much more. And I really do like Gina with Peter, but I feel that her and Jason Thompson just have so much more.
They're rebels down beneath. Like, dress them up any way you want. They are rebels.
They are.
And I do love, to segue a little bit, Daquan did say that kiss between Summer and Mariah was hot. So, I mean, we do have at least one other person that is open to that. I mean,
wonder how many men have DVR'd that moment and they're like, replay. It's like, it's not bound, okay?
I'm sorry, but before we get Summer as a lesbian, we need Kevin and to get a boyfriend.
Well, he's halfway there.
I mean, if we're going for that, then Kevin's first.
I would totally be okay with Kevin and Billy.
Oh, no. Lucretia, two bottoms don't make a right.
I feel like you've been saving that joke for weeks now.
Them raising Adelia would have been the cutest storyline ever, but we know how that wound up.
I want to know if all the men in Genoa City wear the same cologne, because how do you not know that your woman was with another man? I mean, they would smell different, smudges of stuff.
Well, as we say, those who are smart know how to get the same cologne as...
It's all Glow by Jabot.
Glow by Jabot.
Glow by Jabot. That old campaign.
That is so true that they don't play that up on this show. Unlike, not to go to a different show, but when Morgan on General Hospital walked in on the crypt with Sonny and Ava, he like immediately knew it was in the air, and it's just like...
Yeah, it's like they totally did it. Yeah. You knew.
Well, remember, Phyllis had a bruise from the motorcycle accident after being with Billy. She's a fast healer. I believe.
Oh, speaking of Billy, let's get, Billy gets jelly of Tricky and finds out his mommy ruined his love life.
There were so many consonants in that.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting choked up. But yeah, Billy, and I love Billy. He's probably my favorite character most of the time, but he can be such a little bitch.
Like, it's tattooed on him at this point. I can't with him.
What does it say?
Little bitch. Billy the bitch.
No, remember our hashtag last week? Be a man, Billy.
Yeah, be a man, Billy. Hashtag.
It's time for that.
I love how you wrote here in your notes, though, his mommy ruined his love life.
Yeah.
That is so how he acts. He's like, my mommy ruins everything.
Me. That was his tone, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, totally. Oh, God.
But I love their scenes together, Billy and Victoria. I feel like they just bring out the best in each other. Whether they're arguing or, taking these subtle jabs, she lights up on camera with Billy. So we got to keep that going.
And why did he go get that book? Come on.
He's trying to play good dad, but also I feel like he was totally nosing into her business. He's like, oh yeah, Travis is back. I'm going to go ruin this. And that's the thing, is that's who Billy is. And I love him and Victoria as friends, but... she needs a little bit more of a mature man like Travis right now.
I know, and I just feel like Billy's not mature enough to say, you know what, that's a good situation for her. Let me just let her go. No, he's going to keep meddling and meddling.
Because he's just like his mommy.
I'm shipping Phyllis and Billy too much for Billy and Victoria to even be an option for me.
Oh, I agree. Phyllis and Billy are just so hot.
I don't think it's going to happen.
But they're only hot because they're not supposed to be. Remember that weekend that they actually got away and they spent more than one day? She was like, I got to go after a night. And they kind of were boring.
Yeah, he didn't know what kind of wine. He didn't know what went with strawberries. He had red wine instead
I
of
feel
champagne.
like if they actually were able to get together, they would be a force to deal with. If everything was on the table and you have those two as a couple, I think that would be fun.
There's just too many enemies, though. How do they block
And
that?
who would pay their bills?
Well,
okay.
Jill.
No, she would not put up with that at all.
Well, and it's funny, though, because her and Colin are just an older version of Phyllis and Billy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, they're very similar and it's cute. Yeah.
I agree.
That's very true. Yeah. That is true.
It's cute, but in doses. We don't want to see them week by week. It's cute to see a little flash, and then Colin disappears.
I could see Colin and Jill all day long, even if they're doing it. I'm like, they're adorable, and they are
so cute.
They're both shameless, and it is amazing. And everyone knows how much I love Tristan Rogers, but
Well, and when you talk about soap opera royalty, I mean, between the two of them, I mean, how many years on air do they have together? I mean,
About
that's just
100.
amazing.
No. Not
It's a legacy, though. It's a legacy.
Speaking of legacy, let's get into Victor and how everybody blames him by the end of the week when Steph's... that's the thing, is everyone expects that, it's him who got Adam out of jail.
I think he's just the easiest punching bag because he is always up to something.
You guys, it is his fault. This is all his fault. Sorry, it's all his fault.
To a certain extent, he had good intentions.
It's all his fault.
It's all his fault. If he wouldn't have messed with any journal pages or trying to fake anything, we would not be in this. He killed his son.
Yeah, because
No.
to me, especially because Chloe does take some of the blame, but Victor's the one that put her in that situation. And that is
Totally.
the thing, is like, Chloe is not a stable woman. And that's what I...
You think?
And I love Chloe, and I really love the moments that with her and Kevin and Bella, and this brought up so much with this character. And then for them to just blow it all the way just for this, and that's really disappointing, and we'll get into more of that later. Let's just talk about how Victor set all this up, and then it's like, because I love the tender moment between him and Adam.
Of course.
Oh my God,
And
that
then
was
it
so
was
good.
like, but that's it.
But
and
it's a
all
little
this is your
too
fault.
late.
Yeah.
He is responsible for Adam losing it. He's responsible for the guard. He's responsible for everything. He's going to be
No.
responsible for Chloe's. She's going to need rehab after this with her mental breakdown.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You're right. They're going to blame Chloe's going to get away scot-free. It's Victor's fault.
He
Yeah.
I
brainwashed
hope
me.
so. I
Yeah.
love her. So I'm like, I was so mad when they went that way because it's like, what's it going to do for her? But let's face it, let's just blame everything on Victor.
No, I feel like Chloe's
you
going to go
can.
to jail, and then Kevin's going to take care of Delia. I mean, not Delia, Bella. Bella.
Whoops.
Since they're establishing that cute relationship.
Victor's the bad guy. Sorry.
And what I love is like how Dylan is being set up to be the new Adam. Did anybody else notice how all of a sudden his wardrobe is like dark colors?
I did notice.
And then
I did
you know
notice.
they had started to plant the seeds that him being like Victor in a way, and you know it's especially interesting because he's Nikki's son that she feels so guilty for giving up.
Yep.
So that's gonna bring a rift between them. And I'm like, I do give them credit for setting that up. I didn't like the way that the other direction went, but
But he's like the
Yeah.
good version. It's like when Batman goes bad, you know, Spider-Man turns into, you know, Black Spider-Man, you know, and they have that dark side. But he's the good side of Victor. Victor was like mirror universe. Did that make sense to anybody?
Well,
Totally.
luckily I'm a comic book nerd, so it made sense to me.
Okay.
And by the way, thank you, Her Universe, for giving me this shirt to wear on this show, and I didn't thank you on the last one.
There's three of us, by the way. Thank you, Marvel.
Right.
But yeah, so when Spider-Man is possessed by the symbiote, for some of my viewers that might understand this, he is not as bad as, say, when Eddie Brock becomes Venom or, you know, Cletus Cassidy becomes Carnage. And I'll stop now, guys. Because, yeah, that gets
We're like, English, please. But yes, Dark Dylan is very cute, but I love that
Smoldering.
Sharon could kind of have that soft side of him come out, and she's like, no, we need to go to lunch, take your mind off of things.
I like the Dark Dylan, and it's only going to get worse when the
whole
everything with Sharon
Sully
comes out.
comes
I think
out, yeah.
that's going to be what sets him over.
And I think Sharon really, really wanted him to let go of finding Adam.
Yes.
Because she thought, okay, if he gave grace on this situation, I'll get grace when the Sully thing comes out.
Totally.
Not happening.
But I did like how Dylan was really vulnerable. Like I mentioned it when she brought him sandwiches and they sat outside, and he was he confided in her the first as to, hey, I kind of know where Chelsea is. What do I do? I thought that was a really sweet moment because he hasn't confided into Sharon like this. She's usually the last to know. Doorbell rings. She's like, what?
But she's out of the house now. She's not
Yes.
just
They're
baking cookies.
outside.
Yeah, she's starting to be a normal person again.
Yeah.
Love
and,
it.
and that's why it is so funny how we're almost forgetting that Sully is Sage and Adams.
Yeah.
And to me, at this
Yeah.
point, are they gonna even continue it to be Adams? Because, you know, we'll get to that later. But
But it definitely
Yeah.
has to come out soon.
yeah.
I think it's a back pocket story that if they need to go to it in a year, 4 years, 5, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
always there.
I kind of hope that they actually do leave it like 4 or 5, like leave
Yeah.
it long term. Don't just like quick. I think that will be even more emotional impact.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and I like how people are wondering when that does come out. Who's Dylan gonna be with? I mean, there's no one set up in Dylan's orbit. I mean, because Chelsea and Nick sort of had this thing. Because of
Woo,
course I
that
can
is-
see
oh my God.
Chelsea
Yes.
with
I noticed
Dylan
that.
again. But yeah, Chelsea and Nick are.
Oof. I've been calling that for
Yeah.
weeks.
I know. I remember when they had him
Yeah, you
with Sage and the baby in the hospital, and Chelsea was being there. I was like, they're setting this up, and then they dropped it, and they're like, no.
It's on its way.
I'm fine with that because Nick would be like, Chelsea,
Yeah.
stop whining. Let's come on.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. I think they both will whine.
Nick is not a whiner anymore. He grew up.
Anymore.
Really.
I love the anymore.
And he
Yeah,
used to be
he's
the
a
punk
man.
kid. He used to be kind of Billy. He was the punk kid, you know what I mean? And He is
Kinda
not
grew up a little bit.
anymore.
I know Nick Newman has become the man, and I actually didn't like Nick forever because I didn't like how he treated Phyllis or Sharon. And then like this year, as in the past couple months, I'm like, Nick is the man.
He is. I still don't like how he talks to Victor a little sideways, but let's remove that out, and he's the man.
And he wore a polo this week. Did you notice? It was like a little.
He and Travis are 2 days apart. Victoria's got brother issues. Oh, but yeah, speaking of Travis, when Victor met him, I loved that shade.
It was like a scene in a sitcom. It was that delicious and just perfect. Even the way that they blocked it, that Victor was sitting there with his drink, like, you know, it was so good.
Yeah, it was.
And just the lines that he had with him, he was like, son, don't ever confuse your little petty Wall Street stuff with this empire that I've built. And I was like,
That was so on the money. So on the money.
But I can't believe it took so long for that to actually happen. The introduction between the two.
Well, no, because she's like, Dad, I met him in a bar.
yeah, there was not really much to say about them.
I mean, for some reason, for them not to interact, because they've kind of dragged this Travis and Victoria thing. I thought it was over once he was gone for a few weeks, and now he's back, and I guess...
Yeah, they
Amen.
needed him though.
Yeah,
I signed that petition real
Oh my
fast.
goodness.
I know. It's like, if we could just have Travis never wear clothes, that would be okay, right?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, give him a job, like
Him and
working
Billy.
on boats, like, you know, doing manly stuff. Like, just work it in there. And Dylan can join, because I think they would be a good bromance.
We really got to see the difference of how Travis talked to Victor as how Luca talked to Victor. Luca was like kissing his ass, trying to weasel his
I
way in.
hated it.
And Travis, you didn't like how
I
Travis talked
hated
to
it.
Victor?
I just thought Victoria shouldn't have let that happen. That's your father. If you have something bad to say, you say it. Don't let your little boy toy
Oh,
disrespect your
No.
father.
I know, I disagree. I like that he's almost like staking his claim, like,
Yeah.
I'm letting you know now you're not going to run over me, because
Amen.
I know, I've heard like stories of what you've done to Victoria's other husbands and boyfriends. I'm not Billy. That's basically what he's like. I'm not Billy. I'm letting you know right up front. This is how it's
Yeah,
gonna
but I
be.
feel like that should have been a private conversation, not Victoria standing right
Victor
there.
was calling him on the carpet in front of the whole room.
Yeah,
so
but-
he was like, you know what, you want to go? Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about Travis, is like, he did not back down to
No.
Victor, and he wasn't whiny about it, like, you know,
Yeah.
I love Billy, but, you know,
I mean, he owns a bar.
But to your point though, he
Yeah.
wasn't talking on behalf of Victoria. He was speaking for himself.
yeah, and that's
So
what
I was
like.
okay with that.
Yeah.
You're right. If he was saying, well, I know she wouldn't want, well, no.
Yeah, no one speaks for me.
She's
but,
Kara's made up her mind. She's like closing the computer.
I know.
She's done.
Yeah.
yeah, because I loved how Nick and Travis, who, as I say, are very much alike, talk to Victor, because it's like, they don't take his crap, and they're not that like, I loved Adam and Victor's relationship to an extent, but it was always like, but I want my daddy to love me.
Yeah.
With Nick, nah, he's like, I'm your favorite, and I know it.
I'm the only one not going to jail.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
But that's because he's already been there several times in the past. So he's like, I'm done with that.
He's learned his lesson.
Yeah.
No more of those prison showers for him.
Let's just say he buys soap on a rope by the by the quantity.
Oh, let's get into, you know, Nick again. How he was bonding with Chelsea and Connor, and like, oh yeah, he's the one she calls. He's fixing everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
And he was the knight in shining armor, literally, in that shiny Lexus, and he's all pulling up and taking care of business. He's the man. Literally, Adam's out, and he comes in as the man
It
to
showed
solve
how the
things.
relationship's going to be. She needs guidance. She's one of
Yes.
those women that needs a man to tell her what to do. And Adam, I feel like, was a little bit too harsh with her. Nick says it, but it's in a nice way where you'll, okay, Nick, whatever.
Well, and the sad part is that's not who Chelsea came on as. Chelsea
No.
was a con, and that, I like that part of Chelsea.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
of
Me
Chelsea.
too.
Yeah.
How does it come back?
That's with Nick. That's very interesting. How do are they going to keep her on this like heroin thing that they have going on, which it's not, for me, has not been working for months. I want like that bite, that you know, scheming Chelsea. She doesn't have to be full scheming, but a little bit more
Just a little bit,
personality.
yeah.
And that's a really good point. This was her breakdown. She, you know, in so many ways, even like leaving her life, her business behind, her makeup bag behind, her wardrobe behind. Like that in itself was a big change, and you know, it could have made her a stronger person. But then she was at the cabin like, oh, I don't know what to do. I just want to go and blah
All
blah blah.
flustered,
and then,
forgetting about
the kid's
Connor.
sick, and oh god, yeah. And then the explosion, and you're right. She's back to square one. This whiny kind of person. That's not her.
But I think it'll change once she finds out what Chloe did. then she'll kind of snap back into that scam. I'm upset.
You
I'm
think?
gonna get you back. I hope.
Was anyone
And I think.
surprised like how fast she accepted that? Oh yeah, Adam's dead. Like we've already done like an Adam died thing before. She was just like, oh, first she was like, no, Adam's not in there, and then she's like, okay, he's gone.
It was just a little bit
She
of
was like,
denial
too
and
hot, too
shock.
hot, too hot.
And then once it settles in, she'll be a whole nother Chelsea.
Yeah, and when I talked to Melissa Claire Egan at the Daytime Emmys, I asked her about that. What is Chelsea is, because I'm hoping to set up, because she was best as Crazy Annie on All My Children. And I asked her, I was like, how would that happen on Y&R? Like, were Adam to die again, whatever? And she's like, some stuff's going to happen, so maybe they kind of knew some of this stuff even back then. But yeah, and you'll see, and that's what brings me to Chloe is, I love their friendship, but I so want to see this blow up. I want to see, because this is where Chelsea's going to go crazy.
Yep.
Because she gets her, claws into Victor sometimes, and if it's Victor, that's so new. But for Chloe to betray her like that, this is where we're going to get our crazy Chelsea. And we know how Mick loves a crazy one.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like Chloe, she's just with Victor. She set up the whole thing in motion, not just the kaboom, but the diaries, just knowing, and then just playing on Chelsea's. Oh, I forgive him. I'm a new person, and just just scheming her the whole time.
I feel like she better watch out, and I think it's a little selfish of Chloe to do all of this, knowing that she's a single parent. Who's gonna take care of your daughter when things blow up in your face?
But that's where she shows herself where she is mentally in all this. She's not.
Or that's
thinking
why
that.
she's wasting Kevin's time day by day.
Yeah, because speaking of, that's what really annoyed me about that being the conclusion with Adam, is that we had so many good scenes. And, even over the past couple weeks of Chloe coming to terms with, she's trying to forgive him for Chelsea, wanting better, she's the one who turned in the pages, all this. And then the bonding with Kevin and Bella, being a sweet little family, even though it was in their apartment, it was still like, she's trying and sees this, and then it's a complete 180 for no reason other than, we gotta write somebody on the show. And that brings me to Adam went boom. I mean, that's the thing, is like, you blew him up. He was knocked out with,
A tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Like a freaking animal.
I thought that was so funny when she just comes in and shoots him.
It was so good, but because it showed, the camera panned at her boots. Number one, those were not Chloe boots. I don't know. She went into Chelsea's closet and got those shoes, right? Those were so Chelsea shoes. I thought it was Bethany. I thought Victor was like, I gave you $2 million extra. This is your last thing that you have to do, and then you're scot-free. So I thought it was gonna be Bethany.
That would have been cool.
I would have preferred that have been Bethany, because this right here just killed it for Chloe.
But that scene was so good, though, you guys. Like, the way that she talked to him and that anger in her eyes, it was so sexy and visceral, and it made this all seem more real.
But yeah, but that's the Chloe that came on.
Yeah.
She's grown so much since she came back. And it's like, okay, so we had that initially when she comes back with the pages and doing with Victor, but she made all this progress for them to just, screw it.
It's like being an alcoholic, though. Like,
Yeah.
it's a mental imbalance. It's a chemical imbalance. Even Nikki every now and then wants to go to the liquor store. Chloe went to the liquor store. She got herself a tranquilizer gun.
And Chloe's like vice is trying to kill Adam.
Hey.
She hit him with a car. Now she's gonna blow him up. Yeah.
Well, that anger that she feels is how I feel to Chloe now. I absolutely hate Chloe now.
You guys, I would take Chloe out for happy hour and some nachos. Like, I just want to hang out with her.
Just talk to her.
As
maybe
much as
share
I
a
love
lollipop.
Adam.
Oh wow.
No, but that explosion scene was beautiful. I love when they switch the sets up and we
Yep.
get these aha moments. For me, that was the highlight of my week.
But we still haven't talked about a body.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I feel this whole thing is set up if they want to recast Adam, but personally, I think that they need to leave the character be.
I
That
totally agree.
we've
This
had-
whole storyline.
Yeah, Justin had hard shoes to fill after Michael Mahaney, and especially considering what they did to the character, because they didn't apparently like him very much. And so it's like, we had to backtrack all this. We have this good side of Adam, but now he's gone, and Justin won't be coming back. Spoiler alert. So the thing is I think that the character just needs to be. Go up to the attic.
At
Never
least for a couple months.
Yeah, I don't want it to be done.
Yeah,
No.
we're taking a little break.
You guys, what if Chloe took Adam's body somewhere, or took him alive and is keeping him captive far away, and so that's her hold over Victor? She's like, you know what? I don't want Adam to get away from this free, but I don't want him dead either.
True.
And then it's her bargaining chip with Victor. And then that could carry on her whole story, too.
And that would be really interesting. But to me, it's just like, if we could reveal that later, as much as I'd like it to be revealed now to clear Chloe. But the thing is I just don't feel that we need to recast Adam too soon. Because that's the thing, is like, Justin was pretty close after Michael, but it worked. Let's not try to do that again, at least for a couple of years.
We don't have that long in soap world. Things happen so quickly.
Yeah, and shows do get canceled, but Y&R's still #1, guys. And they're putting money into new sets, so I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
That is true.
Yeah.
Every week I'm like a kid at Disneyland. I'm like, wow, look at this new ride.
The pool and this and that. Iced tea.
Now, can we get the Abbott set back?
I know, that's why I was like,
Yeah.
And let's speak about the Abbotts. That awkward family dinner was so hilarious to watch.
I loved it.
I hated how Billy was so disrespectful. Just
Again, a little.
with those innuendos right in front of Jack's face.
I loved it.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, this is the Billy I like, where he's like immature, but it's cute. So you're like, oh yeah, Billy.
It would be cute if it was anyone else but your brother that you were doing that to.
But
Yeah, that's
About
true.
that doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
poor Ashley, though. Why, they just like throw her in just to have a scene. Like, come on. Like, there's nothing for Ashley to do.
Thank you.
I mean, that's the frustrating part of the show. It's just you have Eileen, who's amazing, and you're just kind of just like, oh, hey Ashley, hey Stitch, hey.
And where have they been, by the way? Where's Stabby been?
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's so weird. They should have been at that awkward dinner, too. And yeah, like you say, Ashley is so underutilized. And the thing is, you had a good storyline with her and Dr. Neville. It would have been a cute, quirky Wormits.
Oh, God, no.
And then they're like, nope, well, I love Michael.
Thank you. I agree. I was weirded out by that. She'd never hang out with him. She'd be like, go away, go away.
I want her back with Stitch or something else, or go back to Days and save that show.
What about Phyllis and Billy in the elevator? That whole little scene that they had. That if we had the shade segment, that would have been my go-to. She got in that elevator. She was like, "Next time, I'll take the stairs," and he was like, "You do that."
Please, stairs up to his bedroom.
It's like, Phyllis don't take the stairs in those heels.
And then she called herself his glorified Bethany.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
was some shade.
why does everyone love to show shade at Bethany? That girl's awesome.
She does
It's
her
easy
job.
to throw shade because we know that she gets to go home in real life to Justin Hartley. That's why.
Right.
That's why the shade comes out.
She's winning.
As I always say about Blake Lively, when everyone's like, she should do this, I was like, she's already winning at life, guys.
Yeah.
She's married to Ryan Reynolds.
She's fine. That was an awkward dinner, though, and I would love to have been the waiter in that scene.
And if I was Phyllis, I would have avoided that dinner at all costs.
Yeah,
no matter
like
what.
Food poisoning, anything.
Something. Well, she has her blood sugar that she does.
Yeah.
She works so hard, everybody.
Just say spastic colon. It always works.
But it was so cute, like when they were sitting there and like then he like started holding hands. I was like, oh, I like these.
Yeah, I love that. And then Jack walks in.
Right.
You know, this table is like set up perfect. We're like Billy, Phyllis. They're like, no.
I just don't like it.
You know,
If we want Billy to mature and grow up, he has to leave that situation alone.
And not fall right back in with Victoria. So good. You know, he maybe he should go on a boat with Travis around the world and become a man.
with Travis,
what
as I've said, I'm open to that. But let's get to one of the more heart-wrenching scenes of this week. Nichelle Nichols guest starred as Lucinda, Neil Winter's mom, you know, that we've never seen or heard about or anything. And it was, I almost cried. I was like,
It was
this is
so
I did
touching.
cry.
So touching.
I did cry.
Did you
Yeah.
really?
I did because I have feelings for Nichelle Nichols. I mean, part of
Okay.
television history, it being 11,000 episodes, that emotion was going on, and it's hard for a guest star to come in and do a day or 2 days on set and be part of this whole story. She did such a great job.
She did.
His acting was the best I've ever seen him act. He was so raw and natural and so emotionally viable. I got teary-eyed, and it was well written. It was great acting. Oh God.
Yeah, he seemed very present. And when she had those moments where she put him in his place, like he really reacted like a child. Like, this is my mother. I do need to be more respectful when I talk to her. And then when that whole alcoholism thing came out, it was like, aha!
Yeah.
All right, there's the connecting thread between you two. And I think he respected her a lot more.
Yeah, to me, I've always loved Christophe St. John, and Neil's always been one of my favorite characters. But this moment, for the love of God, give this man an Emmy for that. That was amazing. And yeah, especially the alcoholic moment, because, you know, that is something that's always haunted Neil for a lot of his characters' storylines. And to see it sort of explained, I think is what really made him break down. It's like, okay, so this is like, you know, genetic. I got this from my mother.
Exactly.
You know, it was, and a mother he didn't know. And then it's immediate, you know, connection.
I'm so glad that they included the Winters family in the celebration of these episodes with something meaty versus just having them just like be placeholders. Like, oh, we're gonna throw them on so they can be a part of it. No, they actually had a storyline. What made the storyline even like even more amazing would have been if they were able to get Shamar back and have
No, you're all for that.
and have Malcolm being kind of like the full Winters family going into. I think that would have just been amazing.
Yeah, because to me, I'm not really sure if they asked him and he wasn't available or what, because I know he just last season left Criminal Minds to pursue other projects, and he had come to the Young and the Restless just a few years ago. So yeah, I mean, and maybe we'll see it on down the line since he's always, he's
always vocal. He's always he's like the type that if you did ask him, he would come back. So I think that would have been one beat that
Get Shamar back.
Yeah.
And shirtless.
And I did love that Devon was the one to really push Neil.
Yeah, he needed that
because
storyline.
they have such an important relationship despite the Hillary stuff. And, you know, it's even what Christophe said in his little preview thing was Neil had no idea that Devon was going to be this important person in his life. And wow, has that gone. Yeah.
I love Hillary's part of this whole thing.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Oh my goodness. The hate on here tonight.
I do agree that I like that Hillary was the one to give those. And, you know,
staying over here.
Because I do love Michelle Morgan, even though sometimes I don't love Hillary. But yeah, the fact that she, and I give Lily credit. I loved Lily saying, you know, Hillary was actually the one who did it. You know, she was nice about Hillary.
It was, we don't need like happy, oh, I love you, but just some type of like, okay, common bond. Like, we don't have to like be so disgusting to each other. Yeah. And I kind of like, I think we were at this place, and I kind of hope that they kind of stay there.
Yeah, because I love their cat fighting but it's done for now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we
if
need
we
a
bring it
mutual
back
respect.
later,
yeah.
But however, when they showed that clip of Lily throwing the ice water on Hillary, I was like, yes, that was one of my favorite cat fights.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that they delve more into this Winter family story, you know, whether other family members come out. But we got to see Neil not having to be the dad of the family, and he turned into a little boy, and that's what I liked too.
Yeah, I love seeing a very vulnerable moment with Neil, and, you know, that's why I always like his friendships with Jack and Nikki, too, is he can be a little bit more vulnerable and not this sort of patriarch that he has to be for the rest of the family.
And I can see his mother passing soon, and then Neil going into a relapse with alcohol.
Oh.
As sad as it say, I hope that happens, because I'm afraid that this is just going to be like, okay, next week, 2 weeks, they're not going to be around.
No, they need to keep that going.
So I'm kind of hoping, if you know, sorry, Mama, for dying. But
prediction.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, we don't want to see her die, but at the same thing, this is going to be a very pivotal moment for Neil and open up more storylines, you know, perhaps with Malcolm coming back and being the one to bring him, since we've already had Jack, we've already had Devon, you know, Hillary, you know, everybody else has tried to help Neil with this situation, and if he goes back again, who else to come other than Malcolm?
But
yeah,
would they do that after having that conversation with his mother and kind of understanding? I don't think he would do that at this point anymore.
Yeah, to me, I feel like it would be a step back for him, but I would want to see him in a storyline. Like you say, it's like, if that's all they're going to do.
It could be over like lost memories, though, of like, what if he would have just reached out 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier. That could put him back into a relapse, I think, is that he feels his guilt is that he kept his grandkids away from their great-grandmother for his own pride.
We just had drunk Neil.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he hit Christine.
A year ago.
Yeah.
What I loved about that scene too is he asked her, you know, if you could go back and do this all over again, would you have stayed? And you know, the typical mom thing would be like, yes, I would have been there for you.
Right.
And she's like, no, I'm glad I wasn't there, because can you imagine how much worse That's a true mother's unconditional love, is you want so much for your son that you're willing to just walk away.
And to me, that really showed how much she loved Neil, and I think he
Yes.
understood that because
Yes.
then, you know, because
You guys, tears!
as he's had the same moments with his kids of being ashamed of who he was and not being a good father, you know, because of his drinking, and you know, so it's good to see that he's able to see that in his own mother.
And this is just going to strengthen his relationship with Lily and Devon. We have this big happy family. Luckily, I'm done.
But yeah, speaking of happy families, let's talk about the little moment between Paul and Christine and Mama Belle.
Oh, you guys! So cute.
I hate that I feel that it was just so thrown in there just because it was the
Yeah.
11,000th
Yeah.
episode, but at the same time, I still loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we wouldn't have seen Christine for a while if it wasn't for 11,000. And
Yeah.
I love her.
Or the next trial.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but she's done her part, you know. I mean, she was part of it at the, you know, at the foundation and
was.
all that. So she's had her fun. I feel that she just sits back, enjoys that the show is going on, and that she can pop in every now
I
and
know,
then.
but I would love a dark storyline for her.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's nice. But where was
I love that.
Hashtag, that's nice.
where was Michael and Lauren?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Lauren's
that's-
been missing for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, and you know, as you'll see later with my favorite moments, Michael and Lauren are some of my favorite characters, and I love them together. And yeah, I feel like they had so much to shove in that episode, but it's still like they're a pretty iconic couple.
Lauren
Oh, yeah.
by itself is an iconic.
Her hair.
Yeah.
Right. Her outfits, everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like, you know, when their segment, when they come on to talk about, you know, their favorite moments is Tracy and Christian talk about how they're both these, like, black sheeps. They were bad guys, and then when they get together, they've sort of become,
soft.
you know, this, you know, super couple that's always, like, you know, shadowing to Kevin and Finn and just different people is they've become this sort of voice of reason when they were bad guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
The turnaround.
And I guess the last thing we have to talk about is the Mariah and Daniel history lesson.
There's okay. Sparks are flying.
They are.
It's just a matter of time, y'all.
Yeah, to me, it's just like he better be coming back because I've always said we're going to have Kevin and Chloe because they were adorable. Mariah needs a man, and if it can't be Devon, like I've been pushing, it's got to be, you know, Daniel, because that was great. And especially because Cassie had such a crush on Daniel.
Yeah, so it's like nostalgia
Yeah.
for that.
But is that creepy though?
just a tad bit, but once they explain
It's
it,
Genoa City.
you
And
can
let's
kind of
see,
move forward.
how is it any creepier than her having a crush on Nick? That was
Right.
where it went over the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Daniel, not so much.
Yeah.
It was cute. I liked it. It's just that's one of those things I just can't get invested in.
Really?
But they
Yeah.
have great
Because
chemistry.
Graz isn't coming back. He's not coming back full time.
He's coming back, and without that porn stash.
99% certain he's not coming
He's
back.
keeping that mustache for another project that he's
Yeah.
working
Yeah,
on.
for
They,
sure.
they keep making a joke about it, so we know.
It was very heavy. But it's gone now. So I was like, oh, you should just. Well, I guess you couldn't wait it because it was the 11,000th episode, but.
Yeah, that was my thing. It's like that storyline and this whole scene was so powerful, especially with Phyllis sort of defending him. I really like to see that mom side of Phyllis. And it's just like, it made it hurt because it's not going to go anywhere. Because as we say, Graz is so far only slated for a couple episodes. I mean, he had his little final scene with Kevin. Like,
No, stay.
I liked how they shared a beer before he had to leave. That
was cute.
That was
Yeah.
nice to see.
And Mariah, is she growing on anyone else?
I've always loved Mariah.
I've always been a fan of Mariah.
I am a fan of her, but they have to let this Sully storyline come out for me to fully say, okay, you know what, I like her.
I like her because of it, because my frustrations with her is how she used to treat Sharon. So for the fact that her and Sharon are on the same side and she generally loves Sharon now, that she's willing to do this for, makes me enjoy her a lot more.
Same side, but let's be on the side of right, not wrong.
Well, I agree, because I think that Mariah is doing this for Sharon because she has so desperately her whole life wanted a family and never had the opportunity. And now she has this opportunity with Sharon and Faith and Sully and Dylan. She's a part of their family, and she doesn't want to ruin that because this is something that she's always wanted.
And it's so true for family. Like, we all have like crazy family members, and she's like,
Yeah.
I am that crazy family member.
I know you're crazy. I love you anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's gonna damage her credibility moving forward.
But the thing is, like, I want to see Mariah successful because she has slowly grown on me. I was not a Mariah
Me
fan,
neither.
but I want her to find her success and happiness not with a man, because I don't think. I think we should get away from that because she's after Kevin, and she's just. That's not how a woman finds
Yeah, she
her
needs something
identity.
to do.
I want her to take off as a designer. And she's got a perfect opportunity, and so I would love to see her become a contender in the whole design world, and that's where she finds her happiness.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I would prefer to see Mariah find happiness in a career or something and be good at something, whether it's working at Chelsea or anything else. It's like that's
Well, she's
more
gonna have to
interesting.
cover for Chelsea for a while.
I would rather see Mariah serve coffee than be with Kevin.
I guess I'm one of the few fans of theirs as a couple rather than friends.
No.
They're great friends.
Yeah, that's all that they should be. You're right.
And maybe just a little one night stand would have been
They
nice.
had it, but it was awkward.
But well, you gotta try it again.
Well,
It's like riding a horse.
yeah. Well, when Kevin comes out, that'll be all explained.
Be like, oh,
Exactly. We'll get it. Oh.
He doesn't like girls.
it would at least explain his outfits.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll delve into our news and gossip that's already been spoiled a little bit. Well, it is true. Justin Hartley announced the other day that he is officially out as Adam. He had a lovely, heartwarming post to fans on his Facebook page, and I do love, Justin, your shamelessness at the end to say, tune in to This Is Us, premiering September 20th on NBC.
So funny. Hey,
That was my favorite part.
Whole nother network.
he's got to buy a pool, so there you go. That was a very classy
Yeah.
way to say goodbye, though, I think.
Yeah, and I feel that they wanted to keep it so under wraps just because they didn't want that to overshadow the 11,000th episode, and they kept all this. And it's
Totally.
like, I get it,
But
but
it was respectful. I thought.
I feel like if for soap fans who are some of the smartest people in the game, starting Monday, you could tell that that's what was building up because
Oh, yeah.
like they were so happy. It was just all the piece. It was just typical like classic soap. It was like happy,
Trouble.
making out with Victor. It's just like okay, it was coming.
yeah, and that was the sad part is like it's not like Sage's death, which was a complete shock, and they kept it under wraps. But this, it's like okay, you're like something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen.
And they kind of wrote themselves in a corner with it. Where were they going to go with this? They couldn't build sets for them for their new life in Canada or France or
Right.
anything, right?
Yeah, because that's the thing is, Melissa Claire Egan has a contract with the show and, is such an integral part of the campus now. And she's been there without Adam, so it's like, why should she go just because,
Yeah.
he can't be there? But I guess that brings us to our favorite moment, since it is the 11,000th episode of Y&R, and most of us have at least been watching most of our lives, which may not be all 11,000 episodes, but we've all got a
It feels like it.
And so, Walker, I know you weren't able to find a clip, so what was your favorite moment?
So my favorite moment, which is so crazy, I was trying to find some Heather, Tom, Victoria, and Ryan when they first got together, and when they, he was her first, and the Victor. I wanted anything from that storyline, YouTube, anything. There's nothing, which is so crazy. There's absolutely no old why. I don't know if CBS is like.
It's something with copyright because I had a hell of a time finding a decent
Mm-hmm.
clip too.
And if you wanted something within the past, 5 years, I wanted something like that.
Vintage.
Yeah, vintage that's when I started watching, was when Victoria and Ryan first met, and I was just like, oh, that's such a bummer. But
yeah,
Is there
the only
one
thing
moment that stands out?
I'm sorry.
Is there one moment with him?
When they first met, I
Okay.
did see that on YouTube, so that was the only thing that popped in my mind. But anything with Heather, Tom, Victoria, I miss Heather, Tom still.
I love her.
It's been like 10 years. I know it's like get over it, people, but.
And
No,
see,
no.
her and Gina both played Kelly on One Life to Live, which is still my favorite soap. And yeah, the only thing I found from that era with Heather was her slapping Victor.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was like literally the only. I was like, I'm digging for clips.
But
I'm like,
it was so out of that clip that's on YouTube
Yeah.
is so short and it's out of context where
Yeah.
it's like it kind of didn't even make sense to a point. But,
Exactly.
But if any fan knows and tweet me, I would love to.
Yes, and also, guys, send us your favorite moments in the chat, and we're also going to put up the phone number here in a bit so that we can get you to call in. But let's get to Kiera's favorite moment.
Yay. Obviously, Katherine Chancellor, her final scene.
Oh, guys.
So heartwarming.
Or what I need is for someone to think like I do, sitting in that chair. And I'm far too conservative.
You're like a glacier.
Yes, like the dinosaur I am. You deal with it.
Well, from what you're saying, I don't have any choice, do I?
Are you going to work with Kane, or you going to fight me on this all the way?
Go up to bed and get some rest, okay?
Good.
Katherine? Do you want me to help you up the stairs?
I believe I can manage. Thank you, though. Good night.
Well, I know. Everybody, I mean, even the chat saying there are tears.
Such a powerful moment, and I love that they gave that moment to Jill. Only thing missing for me was Jill saying, "I love you."
Yeah.
I wish
They
she
didn't have
would've.
to. She didn't have to, though. I mean,
I
at that
wish
point,
she would've.
she didn't have to.
I know. Now we got to get a lighter note with Alexander's favorite moment.
No, but you know, this is just, I mean, it's so emotional. And,
Yeah.
you know, I've been watching Young The Restless before you guys were born. And what it meant to me was, you know, it was, my mom was a single mom and she would work, she worked 2 jobs. So by the time she came home, it was like 8 at night. And we would tape Young The Restless every day. And it was the time that we spent together as mother and son. So these people's stories became our stories. And that's, soap operas mean so much to viewers. And it's for moments like this, it's for the fun moments. And so, I mean, 11,000 episodes, I mean, it's affected us all in different ways. And anyway, so my moment, obviously, it's the Victor and Nikki storyline. They had been through thick and thin, physically and through the storyline. But they've had real arguments about real things, and they've had arguments and makeups through ridiculous situations, and that's what I love about this. It's a story of the ages. So I wanted to play when Victor first saw Nikki. It's a really short clip.
So, it didn't bore you after all, huh?
No, quite the contrary.
Oh, yes. There's something to be said for this side of town.
You know, I hate to admit it, but I suppose you're right.
Perhaps you'd like to stay for the late show.
Maybe there's more.
No, old man, less. Much less.
I think I've seen enough for tonight.
Uh-huh.
By the way, what did you say the dancer's name was?
Nikki Reed.
Nikki Reed. Queen of the Bayou.
Uh-huh.
She's quite a showstopper.
And thus history is made. And
So cute.
They have such a love for each other off screen as well.
Oh, yeah.
From all the interviews, you've interviewed them, and it just, you know, that's part of TV history is this relationship.
I feel like Eric Braeden looks so much better now than he did back then.
Yeah, he's really grown into the porn
He
star.
did.
Oh, just,
No, he wears it well. Take notes.
Yes, Graz. And I guess, you know, speaking of Nikki, I actually put 2 on here because I've always loved the more fun moments, especially like the Nikki and Sharon shade. So this was one of the best clips I could find. Let's play it right here.
Years to tell you what I really thought of you, but I held back because of Nicholas and later because of the kids. I actually got to a point where I thought you had changed. After Cassie died, I thought you had grown up, become responsible. But I was wrong. I was just feeling the loss and the grieving for me and you.
The music.
I realize now that you're the same spoiled, selfish little tramp that you have always been. You want to trash your life? Go right ahead, my dear. But have the decency to protect your children and Nicholas from your unfortunate choices. I have an idea. Why don't you take this piece of garbage that's standing next to you, lay down, and never come back?
Yeah, there's Sharon's crazy eyes. And I just love how, Michael Mahaney's just playing Adam and just standing there.
Like, oop, what am I saying? Cat fight.
And as I said, I love Lauren and Michael and Michelle as Phyllis. So this is just such a good scene featuring just all of them and some fun Phyllis shade.
The last time we were all together like this.
Wow, it must be really uncomfortable for you, Christine. With the exception of Daniel, I think you've had sex with every man standing there. Some more recently than others.
Wow, that was classy, Mom.
Well, I've been with them all too, and I don't feel awkward.
That's great, honey.
Well, I appreciate you all dropping in.
All right, I think that's it for that clip. It does go on and on because Phyllis loves to throw the shade. So why don't we put the phone number up there so that we can get some fans to call in and see what their favorite moments are.
Ooh.
That's going to make me... I'm going to go home and watch that. So can I bring up one thing that bothered me this week? I love the openings where for the cast members would talk about their favorite moments.
Loved it.
When Christoph did his, that they could not show something with him and Drew.
Yeah.
That was so... I was like...
Because those moments were so amazing.
That was a huge part of his storyline in the past. And I was just like...
Well, I did Google him when I was looking for my clip, and I was like...
that's so unfortunate that they're in a place where they just can't do it.
Yeah.
And that storyline brought in a whole new generation of viewers, too, to the show. So that was important for so many reasons.
And just a whole new attitude, everything.
Totally, yep.
Yeah, I love Drusilla, and I know that some of it has to do with legal reasons, because I know that Michelle Stafford was even named in the there's like a lot of people named in the lawsuit, so that's probably why they can't talk about it. So it's like legal. Oh, we've already got a caller. All right, so who are you, and where are you calling from?
This is Kelly from PEI Canada.
Hey, Kelly!
Lacretia, you know me, darling.
Yes, I know. You're one of my favorite Canadians. And that says a lot for me.
Besides William Shatner.
Yeah.
Or Drake. This is my first time for doing this with this soap.
Yeah, this is actually our first time taking calls, and we just wanted to make it special for the 11,000th episode. So what is your favorite Y&R moment, Kelly?
Any scene that Jason Thompson has his shirt off.
I love that.
I can't argue with that.
I love me my Canadian hunk.
Yeah, see, me too.
You go, girl.
And he's from, the sexiest part where men come from, Edmonton.
All men in Canada are sexy. Like, it's just part of the nation there.
I still have a feel back here in Atlantic Canada there, my darling.
Yeah, well, yeah, Brad Richards is from there.
But I agree with you with the Alberta part.
Oh, yeah. They just make him burlier out there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, girl, what's your number? I'm going to call you later.
Go for it, darling.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Kelly?
Victor is Sonny without the gun.
Yeah, I would agree, except that Victor... sometimes actually, nowadays has been facing some consequences.
Yeah.
And at least his family hates him, right?
And real emotions, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Victor has never stayed in jail.
That's
just
true.
like Sonny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets out ever so often, right?
It's hard to stick in the band. So, yeah. Hello.
Well, thank you so much for calling us on the Restless Wrap-Up instead of the GH Report tonight, Kelly.
And thanks for making me cry with the Ginny Cooper stuff.
Don't worry, we were all doing it too.
I love Ginny Cooper, and anytime to see that clip, I will cry my buckets.
Us too.
Good evening, and I'm getting off the line.
Oh, thank you.
Good night and PI.
Good night.
All right, so we've got another caller here. So who are you and where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Beatrice Randolph, and I'm calling from Brunswick, Georgia.
Oh, hey, girl. I know you're always in our chat, so thank you for calling in today.
Georgia.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
So, Beatrice, what is your favorite Y&R moment?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I am definitely a sap when it came down to the Neil and his mother.
Yes.
I cried the whole time. And when she told him that there was no time for the family to gather together for them to meet and everything, I mean, I boo-hoo cried like somebody had stole my candy and they wasn't going to give it back.
It was very emotional.
Yeah.
You cried too, right, Alex?
Oh, I cried. And, you know, the small detail to that room, because I visited people, how she had on the wall, there was a little blackboard that said, "Good morning, Lucinda," and it was from the staff that, you know, they write. It was such a sad thing to see her so isolated in that room, and then the whole room was filled with such love by the end of that scene. Everything was so stellar about that.
Sad. I mean, and her raspy voice was just, I think that's what really did it for me, is when she started explaining that she could have hurt Neil when he was a child, and she just didn't feel like she could have been the mother that he needed. I mean, my heart just broke. I was like fanning my eyes. I was like, don't come down, don't come down, don't come down, don't come down.
That was a great performance. It was magical.
Yeah, to see two
and,
icons.
I'm serious. And Chloe just needs to get bitch slapped. I'm serious.
Girl,
I'm just so over her. It don't even make no sense. Because, I mean,
over.
she should be a Gemini or something. Because, damn, it don't even make no sense.
That was Gemini.
Preach.
I mean, because she is two-faced straight up. And this whole sharing with the deer in the headlight, I'm over that.
Girl, aren't we all?
I'm so over that. I mean, good Lord, I'm over that. And I'm over Phyllis. I mean, come on now, make up your mind. If you want, who do you want?
That is right.
But isn't Chloe being two-faced? Isn't that part of the fun of her story? That doesn't
That's
attract
true,
you?
but I mean, sometimes it don't get to a point where, you know what, I'm gonna stick out my. If it was me, I would stick out my foot and let this heifer trip. Because I mean, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. Because I mean, it don't even make no sense. Now, if you're gonna go ahead and be evil or be mean, then stay that way. But don't be two-faced. Because I mean, Chelsea obviously loves her and everything. But I mean, don't play those games like that. Because I mean, you can get yourself popped like that.
Amen. You preaching,
especially out in
preaching
Georgia.
this Sunday. Amen.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100. If you do stuff like that, you get yourself popped. I'm telling you, because
Hashtag that.
I said, "Wow, you gonna get it." I mean, I used to tell my girlfriends. I said, "Listen, okay, don't stay in the land of ignorance, because see, I can bring you back, and this is not what you want."
Well, that is awesome, Beatrice. We need you to call in every week to see
Yeah,
if
oh my
we're
God.
going to
You
give you a
tell us
segment.
what's up.
Yeah, like who's going to get bitch slapped this week?
You can say things that we
I
cannot.
saw the number pop up. I said, "I've got to be it. I've got to be it."
Well, thank you so much for calling. Do you have any last words?
All I want to say is that I love Adam, and I want him to come back, and I want Sage to come back, and all the people that have died, they need to have like a different storyline, that somebody's held them somewhere in some asylum, and they're all
like they wrapped up all my
drugged
children,
and
yeah.
sleep or something.
Well,
That's where they need to be at, or something.
they do have several people from All My Children, so I think they could do it. They should know how that storyline was written.
They need to go ahead and do it, because I mean, I'm just ready for something else. I need to see some more men and some more skin.
Yes.
Well, we can
Never
all
a problem
agree with that.
the skin.
I mean, serious. I mean, I don't mind looking at Travis, but come on, honey, let's see some chocolate, baby.
Let's get some Latinos up in here, though. Okay, we're forgetting our Latino men.
Right, honey. I know that's right. Let the chest jump.
Well,
I'm gonna
Devon's
make a
got a cute
t-shirt
little
that says,
chocolate bod.
"Let the chest
Yeah,
jump."
yes. Get some musical mints in there. Ooh,
Muscles.
Well,
love some chocolate.
we can't top that note, Beatrice, so thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, y'all have a great one.
No,
Yes,
you too.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All right, we got another phone call. So who are you and where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Mike from Hollywood.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Local.
So, Mike, what?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right.
I know I'm used to hearing you on the GH report, so I'm glad that you stayed for Y&R. So what is your favorite Y&R moment?
Yeah, I'm a longtime fan. My favorite moment would be anything with Sharon in it.
Me
'Cause
too. That's my
She is
fave.
such a crazy character. So, of course, I love Cassie's death and everything. But a recent moment was when she lost custody of Faith and she felt like Mariah turned on her and the rest of her family had abandoned her. And she was just crying on Cassie's tombstone. That was hilarious.
Oh my God. Nothing like a good graveside cry to make you laugh.
Well, I have a twisted sense of humor,
I
so
love
she
it.
was just falling on the tombstone on the ground.
I want to see a montage of every time the doorbell rings. Sharon does
Sharon's
this.
crazy eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Sharon remix.
Sharon has the best crazy eyes in all of soap.
And that's pretty hard.
And she hasn't really aged either.
She
That's one
hasn't.
other thing I love about
Yeah.
Sharon. She's had the same hairstyle for 20 years.
But it works for her.
It works for her.
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with just straight hair.
But it's like layered. It's like short in the front and longer in the back. So
Yeah, it's very much like Jennifer Aniston. You know, when
She'll
you got
put it
that
up.
style, it works.
you keep it.
Yeah, and you know something else it's kind of controversial because a lot of people don't like it, but I loved it. Is when they switched the opening theme song to that red background and the like porn music. And Sharon and Jill, all they would do was look into the camera and shake their hair, and I was like, that's such a soap opera thing.
So, do you have any final thoughts, Mike?
Well, I can't wait till Phyllis and Billy are exposed. I'm with I agree that they need to be exposed, and it's kind of two things because they will be able to be a great couple, I believe, because everybody will be against them. Nobody is going to be on their side.
But again, who's going to pay their bills? Mommy's going to cut Billy off. Phyllis is going to get cut off by
Phyllis
Jack.
is a hustler. She'll figure it out.
Bills.
Bills.
Remember, nobody signs for anything.
A Young The Restless?
Right, she'll get something from the divorce. Hopefully there wasn't
No,
a
she's
cheating
the cheater
clause.
from the divorce. She's married Nick. She should have some money from those divorces.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Sharon still has money from when she was done with Nick.
I know. Like,
Nobody needs money in this town.
no.
Except poor Travis. He can't even afford plumbing on his boat.
Yeah, because it was so dirty the way Billy did Jack this. I mean, if you want to sleep with your brother's woman, that's one thing, but under the table flirting, it's like Billy is such a brat. I hate Billy.
Thank you. Finally.
Be a man, Billy.
But
He's too cute, though.
I know Lacretia likes Billy, but she only likes Billy because who he played on GH. We know
I
that's
think
why
so,
she
too.
likes Billy.
Yeah, you got me. Jason Thompson is just too cute, and so I can't think he does anything bad.
Yeah, but I think it was a very good week, and it's been pretty good lately. And I think that they're building up for Dylan to be a adversary to Victor. That's what they're really building up to, and that would give Nikki something to do.
Oh, I could see that.
Oh no, I mean Dylan. Yeah, for Dylan to be an adversary to Victor.
Yeah.
I feel that they're setting that up. Yeah.
Good versus evil.
Yeah, and that would give Nikki something to do instead of being drunk
Nikki.
or running
She
errands.
needs it.
Running errands or being drunk.
Hey, that's the story of my life. Don't knock it.
That's the story of a lot of people's lives. Like, she's doing it.
Right, but they still need some positivity.
Thank you so much for calling tonight, Mike.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you in Hollywood.
Good night.
Yeah.
All right.
so much anti-Billy on here.
I know. See, we're the Billy Gang Club.
Have we forgot about history? Jack did this to his own daddy.
Yeah.
To his daddy
It's
with
different
Jill.
when it's your
It's different. It's, the brother is different than daddy. Oh God.
No. Okay.
I was like, it's all gross, but
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna have to wrap up the Restless wrap up tonight. So, Alexander, where can they keep up the conversation with you?
Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks on air. I read all of your sassy comments and I love it. You can find out more about me at OnTheRocksRadioShow.com.
And Kiera?
Hey, Kiera Giavanni. You can find me on all social media at Kiera Giavanni.
And how about you, Walker? Really funny.
Yes, all social media. I am Walker R.
Ooh.
And as always, I'm Lacretia Lyon, so you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. And James is in Sacramento celebrating his grandson Ryland's 10th birthday. So he's not here for the bold breakdown tonight, but he will be back next week. And as always, guys, comment, like, 5 stars, whatever you need to do. YouTube, iTunes, wherever we are found. Facebook, just like us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.